Hey there, nature lovers. It is Jackie from Eco Endeavor, and today I want to talk to you about this tree that I just learned about. I learned about this tree actually 2 years ago in a permaculture design course I took, and I had never seen one, and then I found one. So today I want to talk to you about it. It's called the butternut tree. Have you heard of it? Probably not. It's not that popular, and I'm not really sure why. Although I guess it's kind of because it's going extinct due to habitat loss and disease called the butternut canker. So that is probably one of the main reasons why you don't know about this tree. I think this tree is amazing, and I am super excited to add it to my property, and I'm super excited to eat what comes from this butternut, which, if you haven't figured out by now, is a nut and an edible nut. So this is a butternut, and it's also referred to as a white walnut. So butternut is in the walnut family, so it does contain juglone. So anywhere you plant this on your property, you need to be aware that juglone has a chemical that it sends out that other plants don't like it, so it might inhibit the growth of other plants. The butternut is actually native to parts of Canada, which is blew my mind, as well as the eastern part of the United States. And as I said, this butternut canker is devastating the population of these trees, which I think is quite sad. So if you can find butternut trees that are resistant to butternut canker, I would highly recommend you plant them. Now, my research tells me they take about 10 years to produce nuts, which seems like a lot, but then they're also one of the most fast-growing walnut tree species to plant, and they're super hardy. East coast of Canada gets cold. These are hardy to I don't know, -35, I don't know, whatever that is in American land, but that's, I'll put it on the screen for you. That's cold. So anything that can be that resilient and can handle those freezing temperatures belongs definitely in my food forest. And again, I'm West Coast. We only get to -10 here where I am occasionally, and maybe 2 days out of the year. So the butternut is 5 grams of protein, 18 or 16 grams of fat in one, and the healthy good fat, and then it's full of magnesium and vitamin E, so it's a perfect little snack from Mother Nature. So I'm quite excited that I found this tree. So how I found this tree was at my school. So I started working at this new school, and I looked up and I was like, you guys have a nut tree? And they're like, oh yeah, but it's not edible. They're not edible nuts. I was like, I don't think so. Oh, well, it's not a walnut tree. So last year, and I'll put a link to that video, I filmed a video on the black walnut tree that I harvested black walnuts last year. Now, walnuts come when they grow, and I did not know this, so I love sharing this information because I learned this last year, and I just love that I can now recognize these trees instantly. So the walnut has a very kind of special long leaf, but it also produces the nuts into these it's like a husk. So it's a green sticky husk, and the butternut is a lot smaller than the English or the black walnuts, which are bigger nuts. But these nuts, smaller nuts, do have this sticky kind of husk on it. So my strategy for this, to get this husk off, because it does kind of stain your hands, which is a great natural dye actually. If you're into natural dyeing of fibers, you can use the husks to dye. But so this, you can peel off. I've been peeling off the husk now that it's kind of dried out, and I'm quite surprised at how easy these do peel off. So you can see I'm just peeling the husk right off, and it gives a really clean nut. So words that I never thought I'd be saying on YouTube, but look at that clean nut. I actually think it's pretty cool that you can just peel these off if you have the patience to let them kind of dry, and then you can see it's a little shriveled nut now. That's what you want, the shriveled nut, and then you just peel it off, and it's not really that sticky anymore. Another way that you can take the husk off, and this works especially well if you have a bunch of helpful students to do this, is to let them drop on the ground, and then when they're starting to decay a little bit more, rub them with your foot against something rough. So in this case, we had that pebbly kind of pavement, and it worked phenomenal for getting the husks off. So that's how I actually dehusked all of these, is my students did it for me. I will be sharing this harvest with them, but that school did not know. For 10 years, they've had this tree on the property, and I mean, they rent the property, so fair enough, but they didn't know. They're like, oh no, it's not edible. I'm like, it is. It's an edible nut. So you've been feeding the squirrels, which is also not a bad thing, but also very cool that you can just get some nice fresh nuts from a tree growing on your property. If you're going the peeling route and you have a big harvest, it's obviously going to take you a lot. So I would recommend the on your foot, like putting them on the pavement and then just like going to town on them. And then how to clean them. So one of the best ways that I've found to clean them is with a drill and a drywall agitator kind of mixer thing. And yeah, I'll show you how I did that now. Throw them in a bucket of water and agitate it, and that will also help get the rest of that husk off. So by using that drill and agitating the water, they're all like rubbing up against each other and they're helping to get out the little pieces inside. Now they're not perfect, like some of them still have a little bit of their husk in them. That's gonna be fine as long as you're monitoring and making sure that husk is not getting moldy and that you've got enough airflow. I have laid them out to dry now, and they are on this, like, I like to repurpose these plastic things that you get for free from the greenhouse because they are like amazing at so many different things, drying garlic, drying potatoes, curing, all that kind of stuff. So now I'm at the drying and curing stage for these nuts, and I do want to make sure I've got airflow. I will give them a little shake every couple days to make sure they are getting that airflow and drying out evenly. And I will probably be keeping these actually in my shed. You do want to hide them away from any squirrels. Don't leave them outside because squirrels like nuts. That's basically all you need to do to make sure you have some nice nuts for the winter. So with these, I'll probably let them cure for a few weeks. I think the meat inside is probably still quite wet as well, and that's why you need to cure. I was super excited to have found this tree because, again, I just heard about it a couple years ago at my permaculture design course, and I was like, what the heck is a butternut? But now that I'm learning about this, I can recognize walnut trees, which is pretty exciting that I like instantly saw that and I was like, that's a walnut tree. There's got to be nuts on that tree. And I was right. And now that you know as well, if you see these little green moldy looking husks, there is a nut inside of them, and you should definitely take these nuts and process them, clean them, dry them, store them, and then you're going to be able to have nuts like all winter long to crack. And did I already mention there's 5 grams of protein in each nut? Like, that's quite a bit, like a lot of fat too, but you need that healthy fat. I think it's really sad when these trees start to become lesser known when they are such a good food source for us and for animals and nature. So if we can start planting more of these, even if you don't plan on eating them in 10 years, but just so that we can keep this tree species alive. So I hope I've inspired you to look around for a walnut tree, or sorry, a butternut tree, also walnuts too, but look for a butternut tree if you live in Eastern Canada or you're in Eastern United States. And if you don't, try to find these plants. They're very hardy, these trees. I mean, they're pretty hardy, and I want them. I want them all over the property on the north side. And I will probably do a row of them, and then I need to do some research of what grows best with jug-loan producing trees such as these walnut or butternut trees. And I also want to have some walnut trees. Will I be able to harvest nuts from them right away? No, probably not. But am I investing in my future and food security? Yeah, 100% I am. So who knows what's going to happen in 10 years? Maybe there'll be no nuts in the store. Maybe I'll be needing extra sources of protein and fat. Or maybe I will still be making YouTube videos and I just want to be able to show you every year what my little trees look like. I also will try to grow some of these from seed. I did actually try that last year from my walnuts and I was unsuccessful. So you can watch my video somewhere on that, and maybe I'll be able to produce some trees from here. So now you know what the butternut tree is, now you know what the nuts look like, now you know what the little husks look like, and hopefully you can find one in your area, and maybe you'll want to add it to your food forest, to your garden, or you just want to try to go forage and find some, because I'm sure there are some in Eastern United States and Eastern Canada that are also unknown to people, and they're just not realizing what these little balls are, and these are little nuts, and they have a delicious source of protein in them. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!